Hello everyone and welcome back to Scholars. I'm Gaurav and I'm here to take you through the second part of medieval history, that is from advent of Mughals up till the fall of Mughals. Let's start our today's lecture. Our today's lecture will be the advent of Babur. Up till now you have read that the last dynasty to rule over the Delhi Sultanate was Lodi dynasty. Three important rulers of this dynasty was PSI, that is Behlol Lodi, Sikandar Lodi, and the last ruler of this dynasty was Ibrahim Lodi. This Ibrahim Lodi was defeated by Babur to establish Mughal rule in India. In today's lecture, we'll read about what were the challenges that Babur faced while establishing the Mughal rule into India and how he overcame these challenges. So let's start our today's lecture. Babur, he ruled from 1526 to 1530 AD. He was the founder of Mughal Empire into India. So the Mughal Empire was established by a person named Babur. Let's read about this Babur first. He was a Central Asian ruler who claimed lineage from Timur or Tamur, the founder of Timurid Empire on his father's side and the second son of Mongol ruler Genghis Khan on his mother's side. So the two most great conquerors of the medieval India are said to be his forefathers. That is, one was Timur or Tamur. He is linked to Tamur from his father's side. This Tamur used to rule in the Central Asian region of Uzbekistan. And the second or the greatest ruler to which he was attached is Genghis Khan or Genghis Khan. He's linked to this Genghis Khan on his mother's side. So they are the two rulers. He is the descendant of the two greatest conquerors and he established the Mughal rule in India. It is noteworthy to add that due to the lineage to Tamur, the Mughals are also referred as Timurids. So these Mughals, because of the lineage of Babur from his father's side to Tamur, they are also known as Timurids. Now these facts are very important for your prelims. In 1494, Babur, at the meager age of 12, ascended the throne at Fargana, a small principality in Transoxiana, after the death of his father. So, where is this small principality, Fargana, or a small principality in Transoxiana? It was in Uzbekistan, Central Asia, and that is why it is this Babur is said to be a Central Asian ruler. The situation in Central Asia was not stable. Babur lost both the Fargana and Samarkand to Uzbeks. So, because he was a child, he was overpowered by many of his relatives and they captured his territory. Most of the territory. He lost the most important Fargana and Samarkand to these Uzbeks. Ousted from his ancestral domain in Central Asia, Babur was forced to move towards India. So one reason why he came to India was his ancestral domain was captured by Uzbeks and this forced him to move towards India. Like countless earlier invaders from Central Asia, Babur too was drawn towards India by the lure of its fabulous wealth. Now, you must have come across that in the initial stages, most of the ruler came to India, plundered its wealth, and took all those wealth back to their own empire. But after a certain period of time, these rulers who came to plunder India established their rule in India because of its wealth. And this fabulous wealth of India attracted Babur as well. This Babur came to India first to plunder, but his intentions were very clear from the very beginning. Indian rulers thought that he'll plunder India of its wealth, and then he'll go back. But Babur came to India, established his firm rule into the Indian subcontinent. I hope these points are clear to all of you. Let's move forward. His original name was Zahiruddin Muhammad. Now, this is another important fact. They can replace this Babur by Zahiruddin Muhammad and then you will get confused. So, just remember that his original name was Zahiruddin Muhammad. He established himself first in Kabul and then pushed steadily southward into India from Afghanistan through the Khyber Pass. So, first he occupied the region of Kabul, from where he moved southwards past the Khyber Pass basically in Afghanistan to move into the northwestern frontier of the Indian subcontinent, that is the Pakistan and Sindh region. He was successful in capturing Bhira, Sialkot, and Lahore in Punjab. So this was up till 1524. He occupied all the three regions, that is Bhira, Sialkot, and Punjab. Another reason for Babur courting the Punjab Pargana was the meager income from Kabul, which was not sufficient to maintain an empire, and his apprehensions of an Uzbek attack on Kabul. So, another reason why it was why the need was felt to occupy the Indian subcontinent was the Kabul region was not sufficient to maintain an army or an empire. The revenue occupied or the revenue realized from this Kabul region was very low. And another reason was that the Babur thought that if the Uzbeks come and they invade the Kabul as well, he will have nowhere to go. And that is why he started expanding his empire and he pushed southward into the Indian subcontinent, especially into the northwestern part in the first period of his rule. Thus, he is considered India to be a good place to find refuge and develop a suitable base for operation against Uzbeks. So he found that a good place. So he found a good place to take refuge, that is India, from where he can operate, or he can make a firm base from where he can operate against the Uzbeks who ousted him from his ancestral domains. The unstable political situation in India after Sikandar Lodi's death further aided in his entry. So Sikandar Lodi, he succeeded Behlol Lodi. After the death of Sikandar Lodi, the Delhi Sultanate was not very stable because Ibrahim Lodi was an unworthy ruler. So this political instability gave Babur a chance to invade into India. It is believed that he was invited to fight against Ibrahim Lodi by Daulat Khan Lodi, governor of Punjab, Alam Khan, uncle of Ibrahim Lodi, and Rana Sanga of Mewar. Now all these three have their vested interest. Daulat Khan Lodi and Alam Khan, they invited Babur because Daulat Khan Lodi sent a messenger to the court of Ibrahim Lodi, and this messenger was humiliated and insulted by Ibrahim Lodi. So Daulat Khan Lodi was seeking revenge to overturn the rule of Ibrahim Lodi. That is why he invited Babur. Rana Sanga of Mewar, he saw an opportunity after the fall of Sikandar Lodi to occupy Delhi. But Ibrahim Lodi was the last nail in the coffin. He invited this Babur to fight Ibrahim Lodi. He was of the opinion that Babur, like many other rulers, will come to India, plunder India as well, defeat Ibrahim Lodi, and then he'll go back to his original region of Kabul and this Punjab or Sindh region. So, after the return of Babur, Rana Sanga will himself have the chance to occupy Delhi and rule over the larger part of India. This was the interest of Rana Sanga. So, all of these three have their vested interest, and that is why they called Babur to defeat Ibrahim Lodi. He launched 4 expeditions in India between 1519 to 1526. I hope these points are clear to all of you. Let's move forward and talk about the military conquests of Babur. In 1525, when Babur wants to invade India, there were 5 prominent Muslim rulers. They were Sultans of Delhi, Gujarat, Malwa, Bengal, and the Deccan. The 2 prominent Hindu rulers were Rana Sanga of Mewar and Vijayanagar, which was far down south. I hope these points are clear. Let's move on and talk about the first battle that he fought, and it is the greatest one. The first battle of Panipat. It was fought in the year 1526. This date is very important for every exam that you'll get. This was one of the decisive battle of Indian history. It was fought between Ibrahim Lodhi and Babur. Ibrahim Lodhi was defeated, and Babur was not only able to take control of Delhi and Agra, but also got rich treasures of Lodhis. So, which was the first battle through which Babur established himself into India. It was the first battle of Panipat, and it started or it took place in the year 1526. In this battle, Babur emerged victorious. He was not only able to take control of Delhi but also got the rich treasure of Lodhis. Let's talk about the points why Babur succeeded in this first battle of Panipat. Babur's soldiers were less in number. It is said that Babur had an army of 12,000 people, whereas Lodhis has an army of 1 lakh people. Still, Babur emerged victorious. So, what were the reasons behind this success? Babur's soldiers were less in number, but the organization of his army was far superior than that of Lodhis. The greatest achievement of Babur's military tactics, he effectively applied the Rumi Ottoman method of warfare, also known as Tulguma system of war. Under this Tulguma system of war, what they did is basically they surrounded this army on both the sides and laid the attack from center. And they took the advantage of element of surprise. And this is how they emerged victorious. Babur occupied Delhi and sent his son Humayun to seize Agra. Babur proclaimed himself as Emperor of India after the first battle of Panipat. So I hope this is clear to all of you. Let's go through it once again. In 1525, when Babur wanted to invade India, there were five prominent Muslim rulers: Sultan of Delhi, Gujarat, Malwa, Bengal, and Deccan, and the two prominent Hindu rulers were Rana Sanga of Mewar and Vijayanagar Empire, which was far down south. The first battle of Panipat took place in the year of 1526. This was one of the decisive battle of Indian history, fought between Ibrahim Lodi, who was the last ruler of Lodi dynasty, and Babur, who established Mughal rule into India. Ibrahim Lodi was defeated, and Babur was not only able to take control of Delhi but also took control of the rich treasures of Lodi. Why? Now, what were the reason behind Babur's success, or why Babur succeeded? It is said that Babur's military was lesser in number, that is, he had only 12,000 men, while Lodis have around 1 lakh men. But the organization of his army was far superior than that of Lodhi's. It is the great achievement of Babur's military tactics. He effectively applied this Rumi Ottoman method of warfare, also known as Tulguma system of warfare. Babur occupied Delhi. He sent his son Humayun to seize Agra. Babur proclaimed himself as the Emperor of Hindustan after the first battle of Panipat. I hope the story up till now is clear to all of you. Let's move forward and talk about the next military conquest. Now, the victory at Panipat provided Babur a firm ground to consolidate his conquest. But he also had many challenges in front of him. His nobles and commanders were eager to return to Central Asia. Why it is so? Because they were feeling culturally alienated in India. Apart from that, the climatic conditions, they are not able to acclimatize to these climatic conditions, and that is why they wanted to return to Central Asia. Rajputs were rallying around under the leadership of Rana Sanga, wanted to expel the Mughal forces. So a threat from Rajput was also there. The Afghans, though defeated at Panipat, were still a formidable force in the eastern part of UP, Bihar and Bengal. They were regrouping to reclaim their lost power. So though defeated by the Babur, these Afghans or the Lodhis or the remnant of the Lodhis, they were eager to reoccupy what they have lost, and they were regrouping so that they can reclaim their lost power. So two threats were there. First is Rana Sanga and second is the Afghan who were in this UP, Bihar and Bengal region. Babur thus convinced his companions and nobles to stay back and help him in consolidating the conquered territory, that is the Delhi Sultanate. The Rana has expected Babur to return to Kabul, and his decision to remain in India was a big jolt to Rana's territorial ambition. That is, he was of the opinion that after the Babur's return, he will occupy Delhi. But the Babur decided to stay in India. Thus, the battle between the two became inevitable. So in the year 1527, Babur fought another most important war, that is the Battle of Khanwa. It was near Fatehpur Sikri. One of the most fiercely contested battle in Indian history, fought between Babur and Rana Sanga of Mewar, is the Battle of Khanwa, and this was Babur versus Rana Sanga and his allies. Rana Sanga was defeated, and Babur's position in Delhi Agra region was secured. Babur adopted the title of Ghazi after this victory. He proclaimed himself as the Emperor of Hindustan after the first battle of Panipat. After the Battle of Khanwa, he adopted the title of Ghazi. So I hope these points are clear to all of you. What were the difficulties? His nobles and commanders wanted to return because they felt culturally alienated and they did not acclimatize to the Indian climate. But there were two threats prevalent at that time. The first was from the Hindu ruler of Mewar, that is Rana Sanga, and another was from the Afghans who lost their empire or the territory to Babur. So he convinced his companion to stay here and help him in consolidating the conquered territory. So then took place the famous battle of Khanwa, which was between Babur and Rana Sanga near Fatehpur Sikri. Rana Sanga was defeated, he lost the battle, and Babur's position in Delhi Agra region was secured. Babur adopted the title of Ghazi after the victory. Let's move forward and talk about the next military conquest, and it was in consequent year, that is 1528. Battle of Chanderi. This battle was fought between Babur and Medni Rai. This was a Rajput ruler of Malwa. In spite of the great valor with which the Rajput fought, Babur faced little difficulty in overcoming Medni Rai. He defeated Lodhis, the brilliant Rana Sanga, so he faced a very little obstacle from Medni Rai. So it was the Battle of Chanderi in which he defeated Medni Rai, who was the ruler of Malwa, and it took place in the year 1528. So 1526 Battle of Panipat, 1527 Battle of Khanwa, 1528 Battle of Chanderi. You can see a match the column arriving in any of your examinations. With this defeat, resistance across Rajputana was completely shattered. That is, now no more Rajputs were there to resist his rule. Babur had to, however, cut short his plan of further campaign in the area due to the growing disturbance of Afghan in eastern Uttar Pradesh. Now we know that Afghans still occupied the region of UP, Bihar, and Bengal. So there was a resistance from these or disturbance from these Afghans. Battle of Ghagar. This battle was fought between Babur and Mahmud Lodi. He was uncle of Ibrahim Lodi. Afghans had surrendered Delhi, but they were still powerful in the east, that is Bihar and Jaunpur. Shortly, this rule was not very fondly dealt, but Babur died after this. Shortly after this, Babur died in 1530 in Agra while on his way to Kabul. So he fought 4 battles in total while coming into India. On arriving, he first fought the Battle of Panipat, then he fought the Battle of Khanwa against Rana Sanga. Then he fought Battle of Chanderi against another Rajput rulers, that is Medni Rai, who was the ruler of Malwa. And the fourth battle he fought was the Battle of Ghagar, and it was fought between Babur and Mahmud Lodi. Now Babur emerged victorious in this battle as well. Shortly after this, Babur died in 1530 in Agra while he was on his way to Kabul. I hope these points are clear to all of you. Let's move forward and talk about the significance of Babur's advent into India. The security of external invasion from the northeast frontier is the first point. For the first time after the downfall of Kushans, Kabul and Gandhar became integral part of Mughal Empire. Now, as you must have come across the previous lecture, you'll be aware that Kushans occupied this northeastern India with the northern part of India. That is, the empire was very big, extending from northwestern to northeastern part. And Kushans also had Kashmir under their rule. So it was after the Kushan ruler for the first time the political unity in the north was witnessed, and it was under the Babur's rule, who integrated whole of the northwestern India with Delhi. Now he established an all India empire by breaking the power of Rajput confederacy. Now we are aware that Babur defeated Rana Sanga of Mewar, who was a Rajput ruler, in Battle of Khanwa, and he defeated Medni Rai in Battle of Chanderi, who was a Rajput ruler of Malwa. It was consequently in year 1527 and 1528. Introduced a new mode of warfare and led to popularization of gunpowder. Now, this is a very important point. Cavalry, artillery in India. So he brought some new modes of warfare. He popularized the use of gunpowder. Few books claim that the gunpowder was first used by Babur, but it is not so. The use of gunpowder was first time witnessed in the southern kingdom of Vijayanagar. So after it, the Babur popularized the use of gunpowder. He used this gunpowder on a very large scale. Although gunpowder was used way too earlier in India, but Babur was the one who popularized its use. I hope this point is clear to all of you. Re-established the authority of king in Delhi, which has been eroded since the death of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So the Lodhis were not very successful or the worthy rulers, and that is why we witnessed the fall of Lodhi dynasty during the rule of their third ruler, that is Ibrahim Lodhi. So he re-established the authority of Delhi and he consolidated the Mughal Empire. Established and consolidated the Mughal Empire, rather I should say. About Babur. Now he was a follower of Naqshbandi Sufi Khwaja Ubaidullah Ahrar. So this is another sect of Sufism apart from these Chishtis and Khwajas. So I hope this is clear. He wrote his memoir in Turkey and it is called Tuzuk-e-Babri or Babarnama. Now, this Babarnama was translated into Persian by Abdur Rahim Khane Khana. Very important point. Whenever you see any of these significant fact about the literature of medieval India, it in itself become very important. I witnessed this question in one of the exams I recently gave. So it's very important. Remember this Tuzuk-e-Babri or Babarnama was written by Babur himself, but it was converted into Persian by Abdur Rahim Khane Khana. He also wrote another work, that is Masnavi. Tuzuk-e-Babri was also known as Babarnama, Book of Babur, and Letters of Babur. So they can also ask you the letters of Babur were converted into Persian by whom? So you need to answer that Abdul Rahim Khane Khana was the person who translated Book of Babar or Letter of Babar into this Persian. He was a keen lover and observer of nature, and he has described the flora and fauna of India in a considerable detail into his book, that is Babar Nama. He introduced char bags and symmetrical laid out gardens with running water and fountains. So basically these char bags are a single bag divided into four quadrilaterals in which you see streams of water running in between. He built two mosques in India, one at Panipat and another at Sambhat in Rohilkhand. So I hope the story up till now is clear to all of you. Let's move forward and summarize what we have read. Babur was also known as Zahiruddin Muhammad. This was his real name. He was the founder of Mughal Empire in India. He claimed lineage from Temur on his father's side and Mongol ruler Chengiz Khan, also known as Genghis Khan, on his mother's side. He became a king at the age of 12 and lost the Fargana and Samarkand to Uzbeks. Ousted from his ancestral domain in Central Asia, Babur was forced to move towards India. He established himself first in Kabul and then he pushed steadily southward into India from Afghanistan through Khyber Pass. So first Kabul and then swiftly he started moving into India, occupied the northwestern region. Thus he considered India to be a good place to find refuge and develop a suitable base for operation against Uzbeks, because he was afraid that these Uzbeks will invade the Kabul region as well, and this Kabul was the revenue generated from this Kabul region was not sufficient to maintain his army and his empire. It is believed that he was invited to fight against Ibrahim Lodi by Daulat Khan, Alam Khan and Rana Sanga of Mewar. So now let's talk about his military conquest. The first military conquest was the first battle of Panipat. It was fought between Ibrahim Lodi and Babur. Ibrahim Lodi was defeated and Babur was able to take control of Delhi and Agra. After this battle, he called himself the Emperor of Hindustan. The organization of his army was far superior, and the greatest achievement of Babur's military tactics won him this battle, that is the first battle of Panipat. Next is the battle of Khanwa. It was fought between Babur and Rana Sanga of Mewar and his allies. Rana Sanga was defeated and Babur's position in Delhi and Agra region was secured. After winning this battle, Babur adopted the title of Ghazi. Then came the Battle of Chanderi. This battle was fought between Babur and Medini Rai. He was the Rajput ruler of Mewar. With his defeat, the resistance across the Rajputana was completely shattered. Then came the Battle of Ghagar. This battle was fought between Babur and Mahmud Lodi. Afghans had surrendered Delhi, but they were still powerful in the east, and that is why this battle was fought, in which this Babur emerged victorious. After this, Babur died in the year 1530. Significance of his rule: it was for the first time after the downfall of Kushan Empire, the Kabul Gandhar region became an integral part of Mughal Empire. That is, the northwestern part was again united into the Indian subcontinent. He broke the power of Rajput Confederacy. He introduced a new mode of warfare and led to popularization of gunpowder. Now, this popularization is very important. He did not found the this was not the first time when the world witnessed the use of gunpowder. The first time the Indian subcontinent witnessed the use of gunpowder was in Vijayanagar Empire. But this Babur used gunpowder on significantly large scale. He was a follower of Naqshbandi Sufi Khwaja Ubaidullah Ahrar. He wrote his memoir in Turkey called Tuzuk-e Baburnama, and he also wrote Masnavi. This Tuzuk-e-Babri or Baburnama was converted into Persian by Abdur Rahim Khane Khana. So I hope everything is clear to all of you. For more such videos, log on to Scholars. Thank you.